Hello and welcome back. It's nearing the end of October here in Alberta, Canada, and although we've got a little bit of snow so far, it's been nothing too serious, but it does mean that we need to get a few pre-winter activities completed before the snow really starts to fall. So obviously I need to swap out my summer tire and wheel setup for the winters, but I'm also going to be doing an oil change. Now, that's nothing special in and of itself, of course, but last year I did my first oil change with Liquimoly. I posted up a video of the UV test because that's supposed to be the shtick of this type of Liquimoly, that if you apply a UV light to it, that you can actually see it in the dark, and that helps you find leaks. So I did a little test, and you can kind of check that out right there. But I'm going to do another one now because it's been about 6,000 kilometers since I last did an oil change. That's longer than I would have liked to leave the car for with old oil in it, but that's just what life has been like. So over the last 11 months, I haven't been paying too close attention, and now I'm going to check things out to make sure things are okay. In that same sense, last time I put on a magnetic drain plug onto the bottom of the oil pan, and I want to see what stuck to it and make sure that everything seems to be healthy in the engine. By the way, if you're liking the looks of these tote bags, you can check out the product review video I did on them last year right here. I've only been using them for one season, so this will be the second time a set of tires have gone in and out of them, but I actually put all of our spare wheels in the basement over the course of the year, so it's nice to keep everything really clean. So no crazy DIY here. All I'm going to do is pop off the engine cover and then take out the splash shield that's under the front of the car. There's only 8 of the Phillips quarter turn screws holding that on, and then I will start draining the oil, and in the meantime I'll start swapping out the tires. Here's the shield that I just took out, and I was interested to see a couple of wet spots. That'll be one of the first things that I check out in my UV test. I just started up the car to get the oil a little bit warm before I drained it, just to make sure that the oil's mixed up and anything sitting on the bottom of the oil pan is going to drain out quite freely. But what I also just found is this interesting noise coming from the intake manifold, I think. Was that a normal noise? That sounded like more than valve train noise to me. Let me know in the comments section if you've got an idea of what that was. While the oil continues to drain, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the lights and use my little Liquimoly UV light here, and I'm going to look for some oil leaks. I'll give you a quick idea of what this UV test is like, and what you'll find is that there are more things in your engine bay that react to UV light than just this oil. So you just need to take your time and really purposefully look for areas where oil might seep and just be sure of what you're looking at. So I'm under the car right now, and obviously the last bit of oil is draining out. However, take a look at this. So just to get a good idea of what that green color looks like for Liquimoly, something like that. Keep in mind this oil is dirty, so it's not quite as fluorescent as it used to be. But if we travel up a little bit, and we're looking at the bottom of the alternator right now, you can clearly see that oil has seeped down from somewhere else and is collecting on the bottom of the alternator, especially on this bolt here and on the bottom right there. And if I just switch to normal light, you can see that it's quite grimy. It's got a lot of grease and oil residue. Looking at the splash shield, if this is oil, it's not saturated enough to show its fluorescence under UV, like so. So I'm going to clean the entire shield with a degreaser and then keep my eye on it in the coming weeks. 2 rounds of gunk engine cleaner later, the shield is looking way better, and this should help me find any new spots. One thing I learned from doing this last time was that there's simply not a lot of clearance around the top of the oil filter. So if you want to just use your hand and turn, you're hitting a lot of things. Even if you're using a strap wrench and looking for some rotation, you really don't have a lot of room. So immediately what I did was I jumped onto Amazon and I bought myself a 14.74 millimeter oil filter socket. I just cleaned up the oil filter housing a little bit, and I'm about to lube up the O-ring on this fresh filter, and I'll pop it back in. And here is the drain plug. So I was quite happy to see that there is essentially no metal flaking on here at all. I don't really see much of anything, so that's great. And now it's time to fill her up. One piece of advice though, if this is your first time doing an oil change on the B8, What I found was that there's no dipstick. There's just this little plug that doesn't really do much of anything. If you want to find the oil level in the car, you actually need to go in and go to your onboard screen and just go into the car settings and check oil level. There's an electronic sensor down there and it'll tell you when the level is high enough. It's kind of annoying though because you have to fill up a little bit, give it a check, fill it, give it a check, so on and so forth. Not that fun. I think I'm going to buy an aftermarket dipstick so I can just check it the old-fashioned way. In the car for a second here, I'll show you how to check that oil level. So go ahead, put in the key, push it in for auxiliary power, and then we are in car right now, and just go down to oil level. And if you're lucky, this screen will pop up. Sometimes it'll say that no information is available, but just stay on this screen and eventually you should get a reading. The oil change is done now, and all I just did was clean up the bottom of the AC compressor. I know I said alternator before, but I meant to say compressor. And I'm not going to put the splash shield on for the next few days. I'm going to keep it off so I can just pop my head under and take a quick look, because I went around with my UV light and I could not find any oil seeping from anywhere, really. So I'm just not sure where that grime and oil is coming from, but I'll keep my eye on it and hopefully it doesn't return. It's the next day now, and I just wanted to double check that everything's okay. And it looks like, although there's a little bit of green on the outside of the plug, that's just dirty from before. But more importantly, things are looking good up here. There's no new oil dripping down from anywhere. I might have just splashed some on here yesterday. It could have been my fault. But everything's looking okay. Heading up a little bit north, though, there's still lots of grime up top. And probably in the spring I'll get an engine shampoo done. Try to keep things really clean and then pay much closer attention next year. I'm not really concerned at the moment, though. And until the next problem or job pops up, I am done. Thanks for joining me today on this short video. Hope you found some of it useful for your own car as well. And if you liked it, please do subscribe. Thanks again. See you next time.